Happy Tuesday, everybody. Let's make small talk.
Okay, well...
How about the weather?
How about that weather?
It really is nice.
I don't think small talk's that hard.
That was a great job, I guess. That was great.
Small talk?
Smart chair.
This is what happens when you get up at 2 in the morning.
That's fair. Small talk.
By the time this live stream comes around,
that's right.
you can't even talk. But I'm gonna read this though.
Okay.
So Gen Z, evidently, according to this study, struggling to come up with topics of conversation at the office. And a new poll says it could really cost them.
Yeah, so this morning we want to know your tips for making small talk. Well, what do you do when you're at the office or elsewhere and you don't really have anything to talk about, but you want to bond with somebody? So this survey found a majority of folks born between 1997 and 2012 don't have any idea about what to talk to their coworkers about. Researchers say there's a disparity in commonalities. More simply said, they don't have a lot in common, like having kids or maybe owning a home. But if folks are looking to get ahead, a lot of managers out there say they're looking to promote folks, younger folks and older folks, who can initiate conversation with other people in the office and make small talk. So we're asking you this morning, what are your tips for?
Well, there used to be a water fountain. People conglomerate.
Water cooler.
Yeah,
Water cooler,
Right.
water cooler.
Bubbler, as they call it.
I was just about to say, bubbler.
They took ours out. The pandemic took it away.
I always tell my kids, just ask people questions. If you just talk to people and listen and ask them questions about themselves.
A lot of them will do a lot of talking.
A lot of people will. People like to talk about themselves.
People like talking about themselves.
Yeah.
But sometimes the answers are short. As we know from doing interviews, and you're just like, okay.
I don't know what to ask you.
Yeah.
One word answers.
Yeah.
Well, don't ask questions that warrant one-word answers.
I feel like the water fountain is replaced by the break room. We all have a break room, so I feel like that's the new bubbler conversation.
Yeah,
That's true.
No, I think so. But then what technique do you use to strike up a conversation?
I don't know. I don't think I've ever had this issue. So now I want to know, I don't get it. What constitutes a small talk? I just kind of ask, what's going on with people's lives?
I think
keep up.
I think it can be in the workplace, but I think it could also be in social settings easily.
That's the thing.
Like a party.
Yeah, exactly. And you're
Other people.
Yeah.
How are you?
totally.
Where are you from?
Yeah.
Where from? How long? I think it's fairly easy here in Charlotte because so many people move here. So it's
Yes.
how long have you been here? There's a whole checklist. How long you been here?
Yeah.
Are you from here? Are you native? Where'd you come from? Where are your people from? Where's your mama from?
Yeah.
There's the typical ones here in Charlotte that I think are very easy. What part of town do you live in? Oh, isn't it crazy to see the growth there? It's just being engaging and being
people
curious.
love to talk about themselves. Nowadays I haven't found anybody that you couldn't have small talk.
I know.
With. Sometimes they won't stop talking, so you can have some small talk.
True.
Yeah. Joy say ask open-ended questions. Yeah. Talk about the weather.
I know.
See, I think it's also kind of a tough time is that a lot of people are still coming out of their shells as well because in the pandemic and some people are really just starting to go back out that you almost forget how to make the small talk. I will say as a parent, it's very weird when I'm meeting other parents. I feel like that's the first time I've been awkward for a while because we talk about the kids and I was like, I didn't even ask that person's name.
Yeah.
You kind of forget how to do it. So, I think that a lot of these people where they're specifically saying Gen Z, it depends if they're just graduating high school and they went through the pandemic going on to their college. So I think it's different levels of it as well.
Yeah, because if you spent your college years, during the pandemic, you literally didn't have the chance to talk during class or even with your professors.
I can't remember who I met. Maybe someone here was talking about college, and they didn't even go to college. It was all at home. Basically, the last couple of years.
Well, because the right timing.
Here in the newsroom was talking about.
Oh, you know what? It was one of our producers, Kayla.
Yeah.
She was.
Yes, that's right.
She had 2-3 years where no classes.
Yeah.
Well, that'll do it. I guess I didn't think about it that way.
Yeah,
those are your early.
We're talking about Gen Z
Emma
specifically.
said the same thing. Our web producer, she said the same thing earlier about if you were entering the work field around the pandemic, then. You didn't have quite the same education about things as some other folks.
Hank chiming in saying young adults struggling to talk to people old enough to be their parents isn't exclusive to Gen Z. This same stuff was said about millennials before them. The internet has changed our social lives more than older generations can relate to because it didn't exist when they were that age. Yeah, people just don't know their neighbors like they used to. And I even have friends that someone just the other day told me, she was like, when people come to my house, they pull up in the driveway and they text, "I'm here." And she's like, "Well, come to the front door and knock on it and then come inside." People just don't interact the way they used to.
We talk less. Think about it back in the day. You'd be excited somebody came to the door. Now you're almost hiding.
Oh, you're like, why
or when your phone
did
rings.
my doorbell just ring?
Well, maybe texting has replaced conversation.
Yeah.
in some cases.
Oh, for sure.
Well, and we're talking about the younger generations. Think about that. They primarily talk through text specifically.
Yep.
We talk, even outside of that generation, you talk more via typing. You have time to think. So when you actually have that small talk, you're almost panicking because you don't want that awkward silence.
The problem
That's
with
a good
texting
point.
is inflection is not there. Your Your intent sometimes is misidentified.
All the time.
That's
I was like,
why
they're mad at me.
A real conversation is what you should do.
It's the same thing with like social media posts and comments.
Even if you're embarrassed in front, or shy, a lot of people can speak on the telephone better than they can one-on-one.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a conversation.
Okay, you actually have a point there because a lot of like the iPhone users were using like the voice messages. Now I've noticed that like my siblings who are about 9, 10-ish years younger than I am do a lot of the voice messages instead of like typing out a message so that you can hear the inflection, but then you still get that time to like kind of receive what was said and figure out how you want to respond.
It's like, oh, no, that didn't sound good.
So I don't know if I should be excited about that. We're kind of getting closer to that face-to-face interaction.
Yeah. I think he makes a good point in that I feel like this is not anything new. We had to go through the same thing when we were younger in the workplace. I do feel like maybe there might be less of an where I feel like we wanted to make sure that we bonded because we know that we it meant our sort of promotion in the workplace and things like that. Where I feel like nowadays it might not be quite the same, as in there's not an expectation that you need to bond. Or,
we just had that story. Was it this week or last week that said people are choosing like quality of life, family time over taking promotions or more money.
Totally.
Right.
And for small talk, that's in person. Even in the workplace, a lot of times it's still via a video screen, and you're still not your authentic self whenever you're on the phone or something like that because you're still kind
of Zoom.
You're hiding. Yeah, we live in a Zoom world.
Zoomers.
Yeah, I just interviewed a teacher for Black History Month, and he was talking about how he loves having the kids back in the classroom because even when it was on that computer screen, a lot of them who are great in the classroom, some not on that computer screen, never wanted to turn on their camera, didn't really chime in and interact like when you're there building that camaraderie with each other.
Different.
An example is our To Go show. Remember we were doing it via Zoom before?
Oh, yes. We were stepping on each other, trying to talk.
What did you do? Okay, no, then you don't even want to speak. But like right now, being able to look in someone's eyes and be able to communicate. See, I think a lot of times we're out of practice, especially for some of the younger generations. So just got to get back into it. When you see somebody just strike up, the weather is always a good talker.
Yeah.
Always.
Put the phone down and have a conversation.
There you go.
It will help you not only in the workplace, but in life in general.
Exactly. It's a needed skill.
It really is. It really is. All right, folks, chime in. Let us know. Are you good at small talk? If so, what techniques do you use? And then we'll see you back here tomorrow morning for another edition of WCNC Charlotte To Go.
Good amount of small talk.
Someone said order. We said older. Older cohort.
Yes.
Order.
I